Time. We speak of it as if we understand it. We measure it in seconds, hours, years. But have we ever really seen it? Time slips by unnoticed until we look back. It's a current we drift in, never quite knowing the direction, never knowing how far we've already gone. We say time heals, but it also steals. It gives us moments only to turn them into memories. Faces change, seasons shift, and one day we realize we've become the echo of the person we used to be. Philosophers call it an illusion. Physicists call it a dimension. The present is already past the second we notice it. The future is a ghost we chase but never touch. Einstein told us that time bends, that it stretches and folds, that what we experience as now might be completely different for someone else. But maybe time isn't something we pass through. Maybe we are the ones who change. That time doesn't move, we do. So what then is the value of a moment? If time cannot be stopped, perhaps the point is not to hold on, but to be present. To feel the fleeting breath, every word, every silence. Because no moment comes twice. Not really. Maybe the secret is that time isn't the enemy. It's the canvas. And we are just the brushstrokes. I recently started a new job in glass manufacturing at one of the last companies in the area to still work with a locally historical product. Tiffin has a rich history of glass manufacturing, particularly with the Tiffin Glass Company. Initially established in 1889 by A.J. Beatty and Sons, it later became part of the United States Glass Company. The Tiffin plant was known for producing a wide variety of glassware, including stemware, tableware, and decorative pieces, with notable lines like Twilight and Ebony. The factory operated under different ownerships, including Continental Can Company and Interpace, before it eventually closed in 1980. My company produces a much larger product, and I've been learning everything about tempering, bending, and adding layers of vinyl to increase durability. It's a very hot, very slow-paced job with pieces coming out of the layers at a rate of about one piece every 8 minutes. This makes for very long days while working 12-hour shifts on a 2-2-3 schedule, something I've never attempted to do before. 2 days on, 2 days off, 3 days on, and the cycle continues with a long week followed by a short one. It's taking some time to get used to. For those attempting to adjust to a 2-2-3 schedule, if you're working days, that's great. Set low expectations for what you can do outside of work and focus on self-care. This includes your hobbies, health, and social events. Then when you have days off, that's when you do more and also work during the time to support your work days. Do your house chores and make runs during your normal work hours. For example, I work 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So on my days off, that is the window to tend to my responsibilities outside of work. Chores, filming new videos, research and making notes for future topics, that sort of thing. At 6 p.m. on my days off, I stop the responsibility part and try to relax. Meet up with friends or family, or just settle in for an evening of rest. Starting off, I keep the caffeine use to a minimum so I can sleep and adjust to the new schedule with a healthy sleep cycle, which can, for some, take weeks to notice some balance to begin to show. If you're working nights, the same applies with the added challenge of getting enough hours in the day to manage your chores and run errands. It would just be weird if you went out to mow the yard at 3 a.m. because that's when you happen to be awake. In light of the new work schedule and the battle against heat exhaustion, my days off tend to be low-energy days, far removed from the pressurized loud hum, clanking, and random sounds of glass shattering in the factory. And I spend a good majority of my free time now focused on my son, Connor, who just turned 18 and has moved out on his own and back to Tiffin, where he was born and raised. We often wander about the city while I tell him stories of local history and teach him about the city's architecture, infrastructure, inner workings, how to take advantage of all it has to offer. Becoming a local philanthropist and the importance of being directly involved with the community. Conversations often broken by his age group talk of girls and video games as we plot and plan our future here and all that it entails. I've become acquainted with a good number of people in the city. Shop owners, clerks, event hosts, city council members, even bartenders. And I, unlike him, am anything but shy. Connor lived most of his life here, only being gone for the past couple of years while living with his mother in the city to the north. All his life he never really experienced or learned about our city or our long family history here as he has over the past couple of weeks. Its colors, its textures, its stories, its soul, and how one person can have a direct impact on the direction of all of it. Everything I know I'm passing on to him, while I still have time to do it. Summer is just now starting to wane, but intense heat waves have been rolling in for the past couple of weeks with high humidity and stagnant air. Adventuring about this time of year always leaves you with your hair dripping with sweat within the first hour of an outing. There's just no escaping the heat. But with the approach of autumn comes cooler evenings to host the county fair, the Heritage Festival, concerts, more Third Thursday events, parades, and a much busier schedule surrounded by large crowds of people. The city comes alive in the fall with an energy that lasts all the way to Christmas. I'm looking forward to making and filming new memories through all of it. I'm still very deep in the world-building phase of this new project. Everything thus far has been little more than setting the stage for something much, much bigger. The plan is in motion, the work is being done, the network is growing every day. It all just takes time and energy, and lots of it. I am mindful of myself and what I'm able to accomplish in a given time frame. Currently, there is a lot going on all at once, and sometimes I struggle to keep it all organized and tended to without losing track of one thing or another, missing a step, or simply falling into chaos. When that starts to happen, I simply stop. For instance, one morning very early on with the new job and the drastic change in my normal hours, my alarm didn't go off and I woke up 15 minutes before I should have been to work. It was one of those mornings where I couldn't get my head together, find my work clothes, and was in no mood to struggle with the instant onset of rushing around trying to get it together in the few minutes I had left to pull something off. So I stopped. I called in, made a proper excuse for my disorganization, and set my mind to getting coffee and taking the day to make sure I don't repeat the same mistake again. My work environment is extremely hot, and I do handle large sheets of hot, raw, untempered glass, often so large that it takes 2 men to lift them safely. I will not put myself or my coworker at risk by simply not being with it and not being able to focus. Better to take the day and reset myself than to risk any sort of injury to myself or to anyone else. I knew within the first couple of weeks at this new job that it's not the type of work I see myself remaining at long term. It's simply a step in the direction I'm going, a means to an end. Working this 2-2-3 schedule means long days at work, but also more days off during the week. And during my days off, I am happily tending to my city and my world building. Now dragging my son along and showing him how I wander about, making new connections, new friends, and new partners. Building on his confidence and knowledge as we go. For me, there's always a bigger picture. a bigger dream to drag into reality. Much of what I do is a very long game to play, full of miserable steps to what I hope will eventually be a happy ending. So far, so good.
What do you want from me? Why don't you run from me? What are you wondering?